Crew, how's it going? How's the audio? How's the visual? Bit of feedback's good. We've got Brandon on. We've got Simon Rawl from the UK. Good morning, crew. And we've got Killswitch BB. Whoop, whoop. I made it into the room this week. Hey, Andy. Hi, other people. Good morning, Killswitch BB. Good to have you on board, sir. And we've got Fireblade 2102. Probably service. Funny, mate. Funny. Simon Rawl. Time to get a cold beer. Oh, don't start me early. Jeez. I've got a lot of work to do today. It's playing ads at this end. Jeez. Well, there we go. Don't look too bad. So, the last week, what did I get up to? Well, I've got to think back. It's been quite a busy week. Oh, God. You know when your week's been mental and you can't work out one day to the other? Well, I went up to Auckland on Wednesday. Let's start there. So Tuesday, let's go back. Yes, Tuesday I had some visits locally to a couple of sites. Can't give too much away. They went very well. And on Monday, I think I worked from home on Monday, actually. Pretty sure I did. Yes, I was at home down at the cottage here, in fact, on the Monday. So Wednesday to Friday, I was up in Auckland doing a couple of visits. Had a doctor's appointment. Well, didn't actually. Tried to make a doctor's appointment, but they were all fully booked. So the old arm's still playing up at the moment. It's not been fixed. Elbow's killing me at the moment. But it's not any better, that's for sure. A Fireblade. It's all right, mate. I take it all in jest. I do. All good fun. Yes, I've had quite a busy week. Yesterday, I still had the last ROV from the surf clubs here. It's an ex-fleet vehicle that's been stood in a barn for a year. And I was preparing it yesterday, stripping all the panels off and stuff to get it undersealed. They asked me to underseal it after I'd done the repairs. And upon further inspection, whilst I was taping up, masking up a few bits and pieces, I noticed that the front brake hose on the right-hand side had been chomped by some vermin, a rat by the looks of it, and not just the outer sheath, but also into the actual flexi pipe itself. So I'm going to have to report back and give them the bad news that it also needs a front brake hose. And on that particular vehicle, it's one brake hose that goes all the way across the front of the vehicle. So it's going to be quite expensive. And my other concern, my major concern is, can we get one? Part supply in this country at the moment and around the world, I think, is really been delayed. So fingers crossed we might have one in stock. I don't know. I'll have to try and maybe have a ring around the other dealers and see if somebody's got one on the shelf as well, because I really want that machine out of the way, but it certainly can't go out as it is. It would be a hazard, unfortunately. Now, so I've got it all undersealed and it's outside curing. And then next weekend, I'll get it all put back together and hopefully we'll have the brake hose and it can go. We'll wait and see. No, it wasn't a copper one. It was a flexi, the actual flexi pipe. Obviously, the outer sheath that they've put on the brake hose is quite tasty for Mr. Rat. And he chomped his way through that. He'd actually eaten most of it by the looks of it. But his sharp teeth had also caught the inner flexi, the main flexi pipe, and it had put quite a few nicks in it, and it actually damaged the cords in one place as well, so it's going to need to be replaced. Mike Adams, hi all. Good morning, Mike. Off-road fan, hi Andy. Good morning, off-road fan. Cheers. Daniel, how about making a brake line from Nikon? Well, because it's an emergency vehicle, I don't like to make modifications if I can, especially the brake systems and stuff. So that it's going to have to be an original part, unfortunately. And I think they're not really in a rush to get rid of it. It's not actually on the fleet. It's an ex-fleet vehicle waiting to be sold. So they'll just have to wait for the right part. Once it's on, I'm sure they'll flick it on pretty well. It looks really tidy now that it's been undersealed and everything. It was quite corroded. It was one of the older ones that I didn't underseal from new. It had probably been in service, I don't know, maybe about 2.5 years before I actually got a chance to underseal it, which, of course, meant that it had corroded quite severely around the chassis. Ideally, it could have done to being shot blasted, but at the time I didn't have a remote shot blaster. I only had a shot blasting cabinet. And in all honesty, the amount of work involved and the expense for the club will probably be prohibitive, unfortunately. Yeah, so there you go. So I got called into the ISL Industrial Warehouse by Brandon. They're the guys that bring in all the Teng tools into New Zealand, and as well as many other products. And he said, look, I'm having to have a bit of a clear out in the old warehouse, and I've got a lot of stuff here, which is, some of it's brand new with the odd part missing, that's why it's not being sold, and other stuff is warranty returns that really actually aren't warranty, although he's fixed them up, and for whatever reason they haven't gone back out to the customer. Maybe they've just supplied them a new one. So Brandon's got a ton of stuff for me. We filled the ute up on Thursday afternoon. Couldn't get everything in. There's still a lot of stuff, including a brand new steel workbench, one of those red ones. It's got 3 drawers, or it should have 3 drawers, but one of the drawers had been robbed to fix a problem, I think probably with a customer's bench. So it's they can't sell it. So he gave me a brand new workbench. How cool is that? Very happy. What else have we got? The One Civil Man. Do you have any tips on how to start a hard to start 2-stroke engine? Well, question is, why is it hard to start? I would certainly be going after, if it's got reed valves, I'll be checking the reed valves. If it's got one of those disc valves, they're quite prone to leakage. And also check the crank seals as well. There's usually a reason why they won't start easily. Ben's TDR 250 is a 2-stroke, and he also had a DT, he's still got a DT 230, and they both start first kick. They're really easy to start, so I think you might have an issue there. Also, if it's just cold start that's bad, check that your choke circuit's working properly on your carb. Killswitch BB, why do I get the feeling your title of tonight's stream is describing me? Yeah, used but useful. That's right. That's what we are, aren't we? We do a good job, I think, as mechanics. Jim K, hello Andy. Good morning, Jim. I got your email, so that's a good segue. I was waiting for Jim to pop up. I've got Jim's email, and just to join in a little bit, I've got, oh hang on, wrong place, my fault. I've got Jim's email up here, and it doesn't give Jim's email address away, which is good. But Jim has been working on, let me have a quick look. He's been working on a Suzuki King Quad, and on that Suzuki King Quad, looks a brand new machine, Jim. Jim has been fitting, trying to zoom out a bit, a winch to the front. There you go, look, so he's been fitting a winch onto the front of that Suzuki King Quad. And Jim's gone on to say that the winch is going to, oh yeah, look, there's even a picture of the snowplow. It's going to be used for a snowplow attachment. So they're going to use the winch to lift the snowplow attachment up and down when it's on the bike, which I think is pretty cool, actually. Just going on from that video that I'd released recently on that solenoid pack from Warn that had really badly corroded inside. That I found out some more information about it. That solenoid pack had only been in service for 2 months, and given the level of corrosion, that was horrendous. Now the vehicle, I thought it had been used on the beach given the level of corrosion. I thought it was salt, but there was a real distinct sort of caustic smell to that relay as well, to that solenoid pack, and it turns out it's been used on a dairy farm. So we all know what that means. So I recommended to the customer that they cover that relay pack up as best they can, because otherwise the replacement won't last very long either, will it? Right, Mike Adams. So there you go, Jim. Sorry, they are Jim. I've shown you a picture on the live stream, and it's interesting stuff to see how you use winches in different ways, not just to recover the vehicle. You can actually use them to do lots of other stuff, which is really cool. I remember years ago, I was out clearing some tracks up on the North Yorkshire moors, and North Yorkshire County Council, and the National Parks especially, and the Forestry Commission were a dab hand at blocking off what we call the old green lanes. These are ancient roads around the UK which never got tarmacked. They sort of got forgotten about, and they got, the trees started to grow on them and all sorts of stuff. And the councils used to claim the money to repair them every year because they got paid per mile. So they kept it on their network of the network of roads map, and that's what they based their charges to the government on. But they never actually did any bloody work on, to be honest. And we got to one of them, and there was a massive concrete, one of those big concrete pipes, a section of concrete pipe that was put vertically and filled with rocks and stuff. And we spent all morning clearing all the rocks out, and then we used the winch on one of the quads to ease this concrete pipe to the edge of the cliff. Well, let's say cliff. It was a really steep downhill section that led off the side of the track, and we winched it up onto its side, and then we could roll the pipe off down the hillside just to get rid of it, basically. And man, I couldn't believe how much speed that thing picked up. And eventually, of course, it hit a tree and just smashed into pieces. It was pretty scary, because actually I'd forgotten, but about 300 meters further down the hillside was another gravel road. So if it hadn't hit a tree, it could have gone across that gravel road, and if there'd been somebody down there, yeah, a bit silly really, wasn't it? But we got it off the track, and we used that track for about 3 years. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, the winch, I don't know, it was definitely a worn winch, because that's all we used to fit back in the UK. Performed the task really well. We had to use a little snatch block, but because it probably weighed about, it must have weighed 500 or 600 kgs, that section of concrete pipe. Anyway, where are we? Oh golly, there's all sorts. Car guy said, oh my word, there's loads. Right. Mike Adams, the one Silverman, just cuss louder and faster while you crank it. Just cuss louder and harder while you crank it, love. Jim K, oh my God. Yeah, Jim, honestly, 2 months and that relay was screwed. It's hard to believe, isn't it? It really is. The fact that return spring completely corroded away in that short period of time. Daniel Bedell, remember that on Messenger we had talked about the red lightning bolt on that Dodge Grand? Yes, Caravan 3.6 litre. Well, I found it, because you didn't know what it meant, the actual symbol. Well, I found an easy and cheap fix for it. Here we go. A 4-inch 100mm hose clamp around the donut rubber. Oh, really? That fixed it? Huh. Okay. Car Guy 72. Good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Car Guy 72. Simon was surprised to see the solenoid pack looked like it had cork seals. No, I think that was just corrosion on the rubber seals. Hang on a minute. I have it. I know not to throw bits and pieces away while there's a current video out, because people do ask stuff. But no, we've definitely got rubber seals there. Look, that's definitely not cork. That's rubber. There were a couple of. There we are. Look, there was a couple of these little fibre washers on the screws to seal things up. That's not cork either. No, that's about it really. God, it was a mess, wasn't it? Interesting stuff there. Yeah, and if you're going to disassemble one, obviously don't do it the way that I did it, because there's more screws than what I found. You will need to desolder those 4 wires to the windings, these bits, you know. But yeah, it was a wreck. It was a mess. I knew it was pretty much going to go in the bin from the start, but it was interesting to know that we actually managed to get it working again. Sort of. It did make contact. It did provide current flow on both circuits, but I don't think it would have lasted very long, to be honest, especially with that return spring failed or corroded away, should I say. Daniel, adapter between the turbulent canister and throttle body. Is that right? Okay, so the hose clamp was just leaking there, was it? The hose clamp just sealed it up. Is that what fixed it? Kill Switch BB, could not a wax dip help in protecting things like solenoid packs? That's a really good question. I imagine it probably would, although if you're using the winch for a reasonable period of time, the solenoid pack's probably going to get quite hot, and it might be hot enough to melt wax. But certainly something similar with a higher, higher temperature range would probably do the trick. I'm sure you can get something that you can just paint on, and it would congeal, you know, and set. I dare say that probably even the underseal I spray the ROVs with would probably be pretty good. I do actually use that on some of like the earth mounts and stuff on the vehicle, and it works brilliantly. There's just no corrosion underneath. Jim K, here we go. Always try and push for a synthetic line instead of steel cable. So much safer. Yeah, I mean, I sort of, my experience, and I've done a lot of winching over the years with the off-road centre that I had, and before that, the green laning that I did as a hobby. When I first started out, there weren't such things as synthetic winch cables. They just didn't exist. And then we started to see a few customers come along with them. And initially I thought, nah, I'm not really sure about that. It doesn't look as strong, doesn't look as durable. But seeing them in action and actually using them as well with customers, so much lighter, so much easier to get out and around a tree or onto your tree strop or whatever. The only downside is you've got to make sure you don't get any nicks in it, because I think if you get a nick in it, or the early ones at least, it was a bit like baler twine in the UK, or elastic band. If you get a nick in it, it creates a weak point and it's likely to snap. But I've seen guys just tie the two halves together after they've snapped and carry on. It's pretty impressive, and the main benefit is it doesn't have really any mass to it compared to a steel cable. So if it does snap, it just seems to drop to the ground. It doesn't fire through the air and create a huge hazard, because when steel cables do that, man, they are lethal, absolutely lethal. I'm sure there's lots of videos on YouTube with that. Now then, Ian Watley, 3 thumbs up. That's what I like to see. Good man. Hey, talking of thumbs up, we've got 11 thumbs up and 35 viewers. So some of you out there haven't yet clicked the like button. Maybe now's the time. Time for a cigarette. Fireblade 2102. I know why you put numbers at the end of your names, because it gives you more airtime, doesn't it? Sweeping generalization, but do you think modern replacement parts are somewhat inferior compared to years ago? Well, it's a very good point. Hey up. I strongly believe that manufacturing in general, be it a complete vehicle or just independent parts, is very much cost conscious these days. With such a competitive market, main dealers or main manufacturing companies such as Ford, Mitsubishi, and so on have, and I have seen this personally, here in New Zealand, that the cost of their consumable parts like brake pads and stuff, they have actively brought those prices down, the retail price down, to the public, to try and be competitive against the aftermarket boys. Because of that, and the broader competition amongst brands, vehicles do need to be built to a cost, and to do that they very much outsource a lot more of the manufacturing to different parts of the world. And for example, China, very good engineers in China, don't get me wrong, they can make stuff to a very high quality, but often they will say, well, how much do you want to pay for each component? And the customer will say, well, we've got a budget of, I don't know, $10, $15, whatever. And they will make it the quality to that cost, to that value. What I have also seen, though, is once a production run starts, they will, the manufacturing company, the guys making the component, will start to fine tune what they're producing in a way that they're reducing the cost to them and increasing profit margin further. And I've seen this firsthand, where the original components made by a factory had Koyo bearings in them, and then maybe a year later we pulled one apart and it had Chinese bearings in it. Now for me, the one with the Chinese bearings doesn't match the specification of the original components submitted for the tender. And that's a breach of contract. So it does cause a tremendous problem and huge costs further down the line for the manufacturer of the vehicle if they're having to do warranty claims, for example, on those components. So Fireblade, I do believe you are correct. Things do seem to be made, they feel cheaper. They don't seem to last as long. And I think that's the reason why. And maybe companies are looking to sell you more components over a period of time, so they don't want them to last as long. I mean, those ratchet straps, for example, down at Aerofast, they are really, really good quality. And they absolutely have not gone down the line of using cheaper components so they can sell more ratchet straps. They've stuck to the guns and produced a quality product. And I think that's a testament to them, to be honest. And obviously they're very happy doing that. And they sell plenty of ratchet straps, that's for sure. Now then, where are we? Mike Adams, the One Superman. In my experience, 9 times out of 10, hard to start 2-cycle engines is usually down to a vacuum or fuel line leak, just enough to mess with the fuel air mixture. There you go. We were sort of both on the same lines there, weren't we? So definitely check the crankshaft seals, and also check the valving, whether it's a reed valve or a disc valve or what, because if it's pushing stuff, and you can check that quite easily as regards the reed valve. If you've got one, or the disc valve, it's just a bit of tissue paper over the intake of the carb, and as you crank the engine over, just slowly, if it starts to blow air back through the carb, you've got a leak, and then you can go after it. I call it a tissue test. Pretty cool. Bog paper is really good for that. Just a single, just get a single ply of bog paper, so it's super light, and you'll see it just flap. Now then, yes, it is cold here. It's actually really cold here today. George, good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, George. Good to have you on board, sir. Mike Adams, cold weather makes the lines and gaskets contract even more. Sure does. Jim, Warn has a great name, but they definitely have a value line VXR. Yeah, I think you mentioned this. Have you seen the new Axion winches? So nice, but very expensive, even here in the States. I haven't, but we'll have a look. I think I googled it. I think I did Google it last time you mentioned it, actually. So Axon. Let's have a look on the pictures. Oh wow, look at that. They look really smart. Very neat and smooth and clean lines on them. I don't know how easy they'd be to work on, but yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. Very different to the old Warn 8274 winch that I used to run years ago on my Charlie truck, Daihatsu F55. That was an awesome winch, was that one. Super powerful. What I do find is, especially manufacturers, when they supply or do a package deal with a quad bike with a winch supplied, or an ROV with a winch supplied, they often don't fit winches really that are a sufficient rating for that weight of vehicle. And in all honesty, the usage it's going to be put to, they tend to go for the cheaper, smaller winches. And that again causes problems because, customers use them and then burn them out. Yeah, they look really good, Jim. I must admit, if I'm ever in the market for buying another winch, which I'm not at the moment, I've got on the front of the Patrol, I've got a Warn, it's electric winch, £16,000. I forget the model, but it's pretty old. It's good. It's a good one. But it needs overhauling. It's not being used. It does still work, but I haven't really done any servicing work on it since I got it. And on that vehicle, I've got to take the whole bull bar off to get it off. So it's probably going to have to wait a little bit. It's going to be a massive job getting it off. And the bull bar is now a bit bent, so I'm a bit wary because chances are it's not going to go back on very easily. There's a lot of stress going on there. Now then, Mike Adams, I like the blue Honda behind you. What year and model is it? Well, it was registered in 1976 and it's down on the records as a 1974 new model, and it's a CB750 and it's the K2 variety. Jim Haynes, fluid film, good idea. I don't know if we can get fluid film here. I'll have to investigate. But they definitely need sealing up. There's no doubt about that. We've seen clear evidence that in a very short period of time, in a very caustic sort of environment, such as a dairy farm, they just don't work. They just don't work at all. It's just not suitable for that particular application. Maybe they need to, remote mount or rethink where the solenoid pack is going to be mounted. If it was maybe, around the battery area of the vehicle, there, where the dare I say it, the shit and the piss from the cows doesn't go, then it'd probably be just fine. But where it is at the moment, it's not good. And the cabling supplied with the winch doesn't allow it to be located that far away from the winch, unfortunately. Now then, Daniel Beddle, I'm going to send you a couple of pictures of it now on your Facebook Messenger. All right, Daniel, cool. I'll keep my eye on for that. It might have already come through, actually. There was a ping a bit earlier on. Bear with me, viewers. Oh yes, there we are. Look. Okay. I take it it's supposed to have one there anyway, and it was just missing, was it? Holy crap. Good man. It's amazing modern technology, isn't it? How you can send stuff through on a live stream. It's great. If you want to feel free to show these pictures on here, because others may need to know this cheap and easy fix. It was $4.43 US. Hang on then, Daniel. I will definitely do that. Okay, there you go. A hose clamp. Good job. Can I scroll the other way? Yeah, look. Luckily I scrolled the right way, wasn't it? I think there's one more. Yes. There you are, look. So an easy fix. But Daniel, should it not have a hose clamp there anyway? Was it just missing? I don't know. I would expect it to, really. It needs to be sealed. Jim K. I've seen people put the blue, yellow, red, black leads under the base nuts and not sandwich the leads in between the nuts. No good. No, you don't want to be disturbing the actual contacts within the relay. No, I agree with you completely there. Daniel, yep, done that. Chrysler forms tell you to replace the throttle body. What? Or forums, sorry. Jim K, you are so right, Andy. You can get great products anywhere. It always depends on how much you want to spend for the quality you want. Absolutely. And again, I've been recommending to a lot of the dealers here in New Zealand now that they fit battery isolation switches to the main feed wire to the solenoid pack from the battery, because that's going to cut down a lot on corrosion. Your green crusties are not going to develop anywhere near as quickly, if at all, on the live wires, the wires that are permanently live, and with a view to the whole thing lasting a lot longer. Plus, of course, if there is an issue, where the relay pack seizes with the winch spooling in or spooling out, you could just turn the whole thing off. It's a real no-brainer in my book, to be honest. Daniel, yes, you were right. It was sucking an unmetered air. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Jim, the only thing China exported that they, here we go, didn't cheapen later was the virus. I knew somebody had mentioned that. Simon, well, that's not going to rust away in 6 months. No, I don't think it is. Bob Kenny, Honda CB500 and CB750s were awesome bikes back in the 70s. They were way ahead of their time. And unfortunately, they really put the British bikes to shame. They did the old Japanese around that time. It was sort of the start of the demise, wasn't it, unfortunately? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love British bikes, but the Japs, they just made it so much better. The design, the refinement, the performance, the handling, the braking, everything about them really was just that next level. And you can see now why they were so successful. Simon Roll, Worth battery terminal protector will work well for the relay pack. It sets like blue gel. Good call. I'll look into that. I'll see if Jared at Forge has got a similar product, and we'll try that. Jared, if you're listening, I need some of that, some blue or whatever color it is, I don't care, some battery terminal protector, and we'll give that a try. Oh, coffee's going cold. Reynold Floors Luna. Oh my word. Saludos desde el norte de Mexico. Okay, somebody needs to interpret that for me. I think it's Spanish, not sure. not really very good at Spanish. Hola, hablo español? No. Daniel Bedell, no, it was never put there by the manufacturer. What? I would have thought that they would have put one there, but on 4 vehicles of the same make and model and ranging from 2010 to 2015, that's not cool, Chrysler. That's terrible. Despicable, in fact. Daniel, no markings of a previous clamp of any kind on any of the Dodge Grand Caravans that I've been working on. Wow, so just a plug and play fit. I mean, it's just asking for trouble, isn't it, to be honest? You know, as the materials start to harden up over time, vibration, chafing, whatever, it's naturally you're gonna get air leaks. It's as simple as that. Mike Adams, one of my electrical connections, I put just a little dab of lithium grease on the contacts to reduce the chance of corrosion and moisture damage. Yeah, my main concern isn't so much the corrosion on the terminals external, it's the fact that we're definitely getting you know, moisture ingress through the seals, through the fiber washers, through something, for God's sake. I mean, yes, sure, potentially through those little O-rings on the 4 large bolts as well, but I think really the only solution is to relocate the relay pack, the solenoid pack, and to coat it. You know, I remember years ago I was working on an old ZIL 131, and the distributor, like on the old Land Rover 101s, the distributor and the HT leads was fully sealed. You know, there was a casing around the distributor cap, and there was braided pipes over the HT leads. And that kind of stuff really works, but it's a hell of a lot to ask for a solenoid company to produce something to that magnitude. But I think something around that relay that's heat resistant would definitely help. I think Reynolds is saying it's from Mexico. Ah, Mexico. Yes. Well, where is he again? Hang on. So Reynolds, good morning and hello, Mexico. Oh my God. Okay. I'm really not so good. Something about a battery is important to monitor temperature and amps. Temperature, millivolts. Okay. All right. I think he's saying it's important to monitor temperature and current flow on those relay packs. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're drawing too much current, it's going to get too hot, and it's going to cause damage for sure. Thanks, Simon. Daniel, then when a mechanic has to remove the turbulence canister, it breaks the seal, and then the red lighting bolt comes on. Ah, okay. So is there some kind of sealant around it? You know, which would, without it being disturbed from the factory, would keep a good seal. But no, I can see your point there, and I think, hey, for a cost of a hose clamp, you just put one on regardless, really, wouldn't you? Steve Bark, removed because of spell check. Oh, okay. That's why the message was retracted. Right, got you. Reynolds, right. Oh my God, you're really testing me here now. Something about translation from Spanish to English and English to Spanish. So maybe he's telling me to use a translator. Oh God. Really? Google Translate? I don't have a lot of success with that. Hang on. We'll see what happens. Copy. Right, hang on then. Just bear with me. I'm all game for this. No, I don't want to print something. God's sake. Paste, I said. Paste. There we are. Ah, here we go. Look. Right. Reynolds says, nowadays the battery is important to monitor temperature, amps, milliamp volts, and the ECU monitor the battery by a sensor and signal. Does. You're absolutely right. Now then, where are we? I've got too many windows open now. Simon, sorry, going back again. Right. Sorry, terrible. Right. Daniel, if you Google what the light means and how to fix it, Chrysler Chrysler forums tell you to get the ETB reprogrammed, reflashed, and or to replace the ETB. Well, all for the sake of a hose clamp. I mean, you're not fixing the fault, are you? Not by doing that. Bushmaster, hello Andy. I'm late to the party as usual. I hope you're well. I'm making some money. Yeah, I'm doing okay actually. A lot of invoices got paid the other week, which certainly took the pressure off things, and I got a few of my bills paid then as well. I've managed to drop some more money into the website development. I don't know if all of you are aware or not, but I am developing at the moment an Andy Mechanic website. This has been done for a number of reasons. The primary reason, the current reason, is ISL Industrial, who are the importers of Teng tools for New Zealand, amongst many, many other products, asked me, invited me in fact, and have been hounding me for the last 12 months to get a website up and running so that I can retail through that website all of their products. ISL is a wholesaler. They don't retail directly, although they have a lot of distributors around New Zealand. And those distributors do have, some of them do have their own websites. And the odd one of those websites is e-commerce, so you can actually order online. But they're not, they don't cover all of ISL's products. So I went to the company that built ISL's own website and had a good long chat with them. And they are going to build a framework for me, a website which feeds off the ISL website for all the data, all the images, all the prices, everything. So there's going to be 30,000 products put onto the Andy Mechanic website, which will automatically update pricing and stocking levels and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, it's going to be e-commerce, so you'll be able to order online, and any orders that do come through will be sent straight through to ISL, and they will dispatch from their warehouse to New Zealand for sure. Whether they're going to dispatch around the world or not, we don't know yet. Maybe the international orders are ones that I'll have to pick up and ship myself, but we just don't know yet. It will also allow me to put my own products on there. All the Andy Mechanic merch will go on there. I'm also discussing with Jared about putting certain lines of the Forge product on there. Obviously, we've got to be careful what we can ship internationally because, you know, hazardous goods and that kind of thing, but there'll be some products available potentially internationally as well. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool kind of website. And the second part of the plan, and this is probably to happen in a year's time, is obviously as YouTube and their rules are getting more and more strict over time, and they do impose new rules on a regular basis, I intend to do what Motor Trend did with their YouTube channels and to put all of the videos, which is a massive job. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to doing it, but it's going to be a massive job having all of the videos in high definition available through the website as a subscriber. So you can subscribe to the website and you'll be able to watch all of the videos advert free through that portal, and it'll just be a one-off payment each month as a subscriber for that. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a defense, a bit of protection, should for whatever reason the YouTube channel get affected by, you know, future rules that YouTube impose, because nobody knows what YouTube's going to do next, and I don't for sure. At the moment, I'm very happy for the videos to be out on YouTube, and it may well be that they continue to be on YouTube and on the website, and you can choose what you want to do, or that new videos at some point will just be like teaser videos, a bit like what Motor Trend do, and the full video will be available through the website. I just don't know yet. I don't think the channel is anywhere near large enough yet to be able to pull that kind of thing off. I think all it would do is kill the views and kill the income. So I'm happy just to keep that part 2 in the background, but that is the plan, and you'll be able to order all sorts of stuff through the site, and I've been negotiating pretty heavy discounts with all the suppliers, so you should get good deals as well, which is all what it's all about. Now then, just going back a little bit, Brian Lamontagne, hopefully I spelled that right, or pronounced it right. Hello Andy, good morning Brian, good to have you on board. Jim Haynes, the sender needs to use translator to send you stuff. Well, yeah, it was a bit of fun though, wasn't it? And I did understand the odd word in there from when I used to live in Spain. I used to work for Mercedes, believe it or not, years and years ago. Jim K, we've been getting ROV deliveries lately, and it was very beneficial to have Google Translator on my phone earlier to communicate in the driver's native language. Oh, sorry, easier to communicate in the driver's native language. Yeah, I bet it was. Okay. Oh, we've got a phone number in there. Yeah, I'm not gonna make that one public, Reynolds, for that very reason. Drive Shaft Drew, he's on board. Good morning, Drive Shaft Drew, and welcome to the Andy Mechanic Workshop. It's very cold in here at the moment. I say very cold. I mean, for some of you guys, you know, you live in places that are a lot colder than New Zealand, but to me at the moment it feels pretty cold. Hello all. Good to have you on board there, Drive Shaft Drew. And I'm going to have one more slug of my cold coffee. Oh man, that really is cold. Daniel, I know it's just a snug fit rubber donut between the turbulence canister and the electronic throttle body. Well, that is just asking for trouble, unfortunately. I mean, even intake manifolds and stuff that do have the clamps on, even those can chafe and wear, and they can get air leaks on them. So, you know, to think that something just as a push fit is going to be reliable for a long time and not generate air leaks, it's futile, to be honest. Oh my word, Reynolds is back. Soy Mecanico e Electronico or Mexico. Well, you guys can read that. I'm not going to try and translate it. I don't know what the word soy means. Don't know. Menox. When doing a patch weld job, do you keep the part you're unable to paint rust-free, oily, runny, which hardens tacky? I tend to use weld-through primer, but you're right. You know, obviously, on the back side of the plate that you've welded in, sometimes it's in a cavity and you can't get to it. If you can get in there, you know, just drill a small hole on the other side if you can and spray some underseal in there or something, that might help. But I usually spray everything with you know, weld-through primer before I weld it all into place. And it doesn't catch fire. It's actually quite good stuff. Although one day I was welding on the Patrol and we'd undersealed the inside of the rear wheel arch, and I was doing some last-minute welding and it all caught fire. So I had to I had to get it all off with a wire brush and reapply it again. That was a ball ache. It was quite interesting seeing the flames licking up past the window. Anyway. Geez, so many questions. I think I've answered that, Menox. But yeah, you know, if you've got bare steel, then it's going to rust, isn't it? You need to coat it with something. But if it's like a sill or something like that, normally on the inside of the sill, pull the carpet back, you know, you've got some little rubber grommets that you can take out and you can spray some underseal in there once it's cooled down, or some wax oil was good stuff back in the UK. We used to use wax oil quite a lot, and that will help to prevent any kind of future corrosion, or certainly slow it down. Mike Adams, I have a question on two-cycle fuel. I've noticed how it seems that each brand has their own oil-gasoline ratio. Not in my book. What's the reason, and is there a middle ground for oil for all to perform equally? What I will say is it's important that you choose the right two-stroke oil. You get two-stroke oil that's designed to be mixed in the fuel tank, and then you also get the other two-stroke oil which is designed to go through a pump. If you use the oil that goes through a pump, sometimes in the fuel, then it can cause problems, basically. You can get, you know, spark plugs can foul, that kind of thing. Also, if you use, we had a problem where on Ben's TDR, where he bought some real trick motocross race two-stroke oil, which is obviously, you know, pre-mix in the fuel tank. And basically his bike the engine really never got hot enough on short journeys, and he had loads of problems with the spark plugs fouling and the bike dropping a cylinder, or sometimes not even starting. And they went back to the cheaper oil, which was designed for the pump, to go through the two-stroke pump, and the injection style, and he had no bother at all after that. So, but as regards ratio, I would be sticking to whatever the manufacturer says in their owner's handbook. I wouldn't be going by what's you know, on the bottle by the manufacturer of the oil. To be honest, I hadn't heard of that before. To be fair, that there was variations between brands on the ratio you should use. I think it's more important that you go by what your manufacturer of the vehicle states. But yes, there is a huge variation between the quality of two-stroke oils, and I think Project Farm has done some videos on this kind of stuff, so maybe you should check that out. Simon, I think rather than put a few quid in your pocket than YouTube. Yes, YouTube, I don't know if you're all aware or not, but on the videos, and because of the adverts and so on, YouTube take almost 50% of the earnings that the channel creates. Now, as a creator, I accept that because YouTube give me the platform to put my videos on. They have the website, they host it, they have all the storage for the videos. I mean, I dread to think how many gigabytes of files now that YouTube have in storage for me on my behalf. But what does wind me up a little bit is any kind of super chats that come through, that kind of stuff. They still take about 50% of whatever you donate. So that really, I think that's unfair because it's not directly related to the videos. But you know, if they made the percentage maybe 20%, fair enough, not a problem. So I do ask on a regular basis for viewers, if you are going to donate, and we did get a huge donation the other day, and I'll go into that in a bit more detail shortly, through PayPal. PayPal is by far the best way of doing it. There's hardly any charges for the processing of that, or the other way to do it is through Patreon. You can make a donation through Patreon as well. But to do a donation as a super chat, just bear in mind that a big chunk of it is going to disappear to YouTube. That's just the way it is, and there's nothing I can do about it, to be honest. And you know, if you decide to do a super chat, that's cool. I don't have a problem with it, but I just want you to make you aware of what YouTube do. So, Mike Adams, some don't want to run right with the same ratio as others. Yeah, I think it's to do with how good a quality the oil is. But no, he definitely did do, Project Farm definitely did do some videos on two-stroke oils, different brands, and how cleanly they burn, and the residue left on the spark plug and stuff. So do definitely check that out because his videos are really, really good. I do like watching those things. Crunch 777 sounds good. Thank you, Daniel. But now I have another problem to deal with the same van. I have to replace the alternator. Sound effects. It's behind the bumper on bank 2. Holy shit. That's something with modern vehicles as well, that the designers of the vehicles, they're not really too interested in how easy they are to work on. All they want to do is get them out of production line and get them in the showroom and sell them. And how hard it is to work on them in the workshop and replace components just doesn't seem to bother them these days. And I hate working on modern cars for that very reason. Killswitch BB, on the website, can we order our own Tool Girl? I would probably get locked up for that, to be honest. Yep, I'm pretty sure I would. Funny guy. Steve Bark, sure enjoy your channel. You look cold, and we are hot here in Midwest USA. I feel a little cooler now. That's not smoke. That's breath. It is pretty chilly. It is. It's not over warm. I think the sun's going to come out. We're supposed to have reasonably good weather again today, so it will warm up later on. And I'm going to be, the plan is, can you see it? Yes, I'm going to be working on the CB750 again today. And the video that I'm going to film today, and I haven't even put the first one out yet because I've got to edit it up, is the bike's got to go through compliance, which means I have to do a brake inspection. So I'm going to be inspecting the brakes on the next video. We're going to pull do some measurements on the front brake. We're going to inspect the play on that pivot and see if there's anything in the manual that relates to how much play is acceptable, because that's what they look for. Is it within manufacturing specifications? And also pull the rear wheel out and measure the brake linings on the brake shoes and the diameter of the brake drum. to see if all of that is still within spec. And if the brake drum is, you know, over diameter compared to what the specifications are, that's going to cause a big problem getting the bike through compliance, because, you know, finding another hub for one of those that's going to be serviceable will be very difficult, I think, these days. Now then, Daniel, the closest bank to you if you were looking at the radiator and radiator fan. Shit. Probably a bumper off job, is it? Might be the easiest way to get in there. Crunch 777. What time is it there? Well, according to the Forge clock, which for some unknown reason has decided to change, it says it's 25 past 11, and it's not. It scared me shitless when I came into the workshop this morning. I thought I'd missed the live stream because it was like 2 hours ahead. It is, the time is, hang on, where's my clock? It's 20 past 9 is the real time. So it's a bit out. It's 2 hours out. And it's one of those clocks that automatically adjusts itself based on like a time pulse, like a radio frequency signal thing, and it has a mind of its own, to be honest. Every now and again you'll catch it resetting, and it's just turning round and round and round on the arms. Drive Shaft Drew, yes, nice to see you all. It's good to have you on board, Drive Shaft Drew. Jim Haynes, maybe the industrial supplier should take on fluid film to sell. They have it in black tinted now. Really? Wow. I will speak to them. Crunch 777. Hello all from West Virginia, USA. It's 10 past 5 in the evening here. Daniel Bedell. Oh man, there's so many. Then I have a 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan that I am in the middle of replacing the fuel pump on. I've already dropped the tank and replaced the fuel pump now. I just have to put the tank back in place. No smoking then. Steve Bark, soy equals I'm. Ah, okay. Thank you for that, Steve. So I'm not very good at Spanish, to be honest. Menox, true that. Connor K, good morning, Connor. Some time ago, you installed a circuit breaker box in the shop. I did. You said you were going to have an electrician check it out. Did you finish everything? And did you have to make any changes? Right. Okay, so it was during lockdown that I did that, because I was looking around the workshop to see what stuff I still had to do, that I had things here to do. And in a short answer to that, Connor, the answer is no. It's exactly as it was that I've in the video. I've made no changes whatsoever. The cabling from the fuse box to the 4 16-amp outlets, those blue large pin outlets, I think they're 16-amp ones. That cabling, which is only very short, does need to be replaced for larger cabling on the higher amperage outlets. Also, I am still running the workshop on the original power feed in, the original cable that runs under the concrete, which is extremely small and very, very old. The heavy duty cable, I ran some conduit from the meter box from the house. It's not plugged in yet, it's not wired in, through some orange conduit to the workshop. And the orange conduit is designed for underground, and it turns out that it's not suitable at all for use above ground. It's not UV resistant, and it has faded quite significantly, and the next step it'll go really brittle. So because of all that and the problems with the cable, the heavy cable that was supplied, I asked for a twin core, and they supplied me single core, and he wouldn't take it back. So I'm just going to completely redo it. I'm going to get an electrician to come in, and actually I'll run the conduit and stuff, and I'll run the new cable, and he can connect the two ends, and then we're good to go. But at the moment, I've got more important things to do. I've just had an order come through on Friday night for 15 more ROVs to underseal. They're all brand new units. Now that's a massive job for me. That's the most I've ever done in one batch. I've got 3 months to get them all done. Now, bearing in mind, I only have weekends, and it has to fit around other jobs. And I've just taken on a huge project with this CB750. So again, it's going to be mental. And the CB750, every job on that will be a video, and I can guarantee that it has to be, because I want to do it. That's the series. I want to do it from start to finish until it's on the road. So very much under the pump at the moment. Not today, but you know, in the next few weeks, things are going to get mental again. And my day job is crazy busy. It's never been as busy as it is at the moment. So sleep is becoming not optional. Now then, so hopefully, Connor, that's filled you in on that one. Simon, on some two-stroke outboards, no names on this channel, the engine uses 100:1 premix. Wow, 100:1. Crunch 777, can you do PayPal? That way you would get 100% of donations. Yes, I do PayPal, and it's the email address that links to PayPal is andymechanic@live.co.uk. Andy Mechanic, one word, at live.co.uk. And in most of the videos, and in fact in this video, on the description when it's finished, in fact I can even check now, show more. Pretty sure it is, yes, no, that's the Patreon one, hang on, bear with me. Yes, it is there. It's down near the bottom of the description on the video, so you've got it actually right in front of you. And PayPal is the best way of doing it. Now, we did get a large donation, and in my eyes, it's a large donation. Just bear with me a second, crew, while I dig it out. God, there's all sorts going on this morning. Oh man, it is chilly. I'll get back to your comments in a second. Just bear with us. I am not a robot. Jeez. Getting real strict on the old security these days, aren't they? PayPal is looking out for you. Really? Okay, it's asking me to... Oh, jeez, what's going on here? Just bear with me again. I'm going to get an email through with a code on it. World's most boring live stream. I'm sorry. Let's see if we can carry on here. So yes, Crunch 777. Okay, just mentioned. Yes, PayPal. That's right. Bob Kinney. Two-stroke oil ratio depends on manufacturer and the engineering of some engines of the engine. Always refer to the owner's manual on the ratio and use good quality two-stroke oil and mix it fresh yourself. Exactly that. Don't go by what's on the bottle of the oil. Look in your owner's manual for that specific vehicle. Oh, can I remember this? Bear with me. Right. Oh my God. Oh man. What the hell? It's asking me for a text message now. Jeez. Oh man, that was hard. Yes, there we go, look. I remember now. I wanted to make sure I got it right. So one of the viewers who is currently on this morning, Jim K, made a sizable donation to the YouTube channel. I think it's about a week ago it was. In fact, the date might even be on there. Maybe about 10 days ago it was. So Jim, thank you very much indeed for your donation. It is very, very much appreciated. I haven't spent it yet. It's currently in the account, and next time I need to buy a tool for the workshop, I'll be using that money towards buying it. One thing I do want to get is an infrared heat camera. We've got an issue on this particular bike, which, spoiler alert, there's an issue with number 2 cylinder. It was basically only running on 3 when I got it fired up, and it only dropped, number 2 cylinder only started to fire once the bike got pretty much warmed up to temperature. So I want to show that on the video that I do of the diagnosis of why it's not running from startup. And I think an infrared camera would be great for that. But I want to get one that I can actually create a video of the screen, so I can include it in the video rather than just film the screen of the tool to do it properly. A bit like we do the old screen, Screencast-O-Matic that I use on my laptop for doing that kind of stuff with the scope and things. So it's all work in progress. I'm saving up for that at the moment. Now then, oh my word, Reynolds, hello friends. That's about as far as I got. Okay, Reynolds, I'll have to come back to you on that. Sorry. Bob, best advice I can give on 2-cycle engines. Thank you, Bob. The Traveling Carpenter. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Mr. Carpenter. Hope you're all good. Duke of the Dales is on board. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Duke of the Dales. Mike Adams. Bob Kinney, thanks. Now then, Daniel Bedell. I also have to replace the transmission on a 2005 Chevrolet Impala LS Police Interceptor. Wow. Hopefully you'll go on a really good test drive afterwards. Obviously, it's your obligation as a good mechanic to make sure that all systems on the vehicle are working before you hand it back to the police. So that would include all the sirens and police lights as well. So that should be a fun trip. Bob Kinney, big thumbs up. Daniel Bedell, daylight savings it's called. Mike Adams, I can relate to pain of what should be a quick job being made an all-day job due to the location of the part. It does seem to be going that way, doesn't it? As things are getting harder and harder to access, you've got to take more and more stuff off just to get to the bit that you need to change. And then you've got to try to explain why it's costing so much money to the customer just to change a simple, it could just be an O-ring, for example, a simple cheap part. Daniel, or at least I think that's what you meant. Reynolds. Okay, I don't get any of that. Sorry, I can see electric stuff and mechanics. And somebody's sober. Mike Adams, I had to replace the radiator on my ex-wife's Chrysler PT Cruiser. I'm not a fan of those, to be honest. We have a few of them over here, but they didn't, just don't like them. And remove and solder the radiator in my 77 Pontiac Grand Prix. Now that's more like it, a 77 Pontiac Grand Prix. Grand Prix took 2 hours total. PT Cruiser took 9 hours. There you go. There's your problem. Menno XZ, drum brakes or disc brakes, which do you prefer to work on? Oh, I like disc brakes, but I don't mind drum brakes, but I much prefer disc brakes. I quite happily pull calipers apart and reseal them and stuff. Drum brakes, I think the biggest issue for me is remembering where all the bloody springs go and the little clips and stuff. It's very easy to get them wrong, isn't it? And just because they are where they are when you pull the drum brake apart doesn't mean to say that the previous mechanic put them in the right place. So you've got to look at diagrams and shit to make sure. And it's just, I don't know. I do prefer disc brakes, must admit. Killswitch BB, I have to say good night. Oh, Killswitch. Or good day for those in a different time zone. Have fun and take care. Cheers, Killswitch BB. Great to have you on board again, and thank you for joining us. Have a great evening, day, afternoon. Yes, good night. Sleep well, and have fun tomorrow. Mike Adams, see you, Killswitch. Oh, Big Rock K. Hi, Andy. Seems you have quite a few videos on the Yamaha Viking, but not the Rhino. I want to check the valve clearance of my Rhino. Is it possible to line up the time marks without moving the fuel tank? You don't even need to do that. If you take off the camshaft sprocket cover, 2 bolts, you'll see on the camshaft sprocket there's a little line. Now, obviously, that line needs to be at the top of the sprocket in alignment with the marking on the cylinder head. You should have the cam should be off cam, so the lobe should be away from the rockers, and you should be able to feel a small amount of movement on both the intake and the exhaust. And then you can do your valve check, make sure the engine's cold, and you should be good to go. You don't actually need to go down the bottom and check on the crank. Right, now then, where are we? I have done a lot of videos on the Rhino. I did them a couple of years ago. They are on the channel, but they are secret videos, which I can only release at some point in the future. I did enjoy working on the little Rhino. It had a problem. I found the fault, got it all fixed, and we got it back to the customer. But whilst I had the vehicle, I did picoscope videos on all of the waveforms, including the extracts out of the manual that cover those particular sensors or actuators as well. Pretty in-depth little videos, and they'll be very, very useful when they finally go on the channel. Simon, that 1 hour job turns into 4 hours with one stuck bolt. It does. You never quite know. And you can't, you know, I used to work for a Firestone place in Devonport, and the lady on the counter that sort of, I suppose, was our service receptionist, she would often tell customers, oh yeah, it'll be 2 hours, you get your car back at 3 o'clock. And it's like, don't dig me a hole. We have no idea what's wrong with the car. We don't know the actual fault. We don't know how long it's going to take to get the parts. And lots of other things can go wrong, you know? So don't put a time on it. Don't call the customer and say it's ready until the car is actually ready and passed its road test. Now then, Bob, I remember having to lift or jack up a motor so you can replace spark plugs. Isn't that the case on the Subarus, on the Boxer engines? I know that the spark plugs are real hard to get to on those, but yeah, possibly. Yeah, you've got to do all sorts of weird stuff just to, and the spark, if you've got like a V6 engine that's transverse, you know, you've got to get to the rear bank. Often, you know, that can be really, really difficult to get to. And you know, quite often you'll find new spark plugs in the front bank, and then they just give up and don't bother with the rear bank, which is crazy. Why bother? Crunch777 just wanted to say thank you for all that you share with us. Your videos have helped me, my husband and son, hang on, I've got to scroll down a bit, nearly there, are amazed when I know what's wrong with things. That's all right, mate, no problem at all. It's really good. That's one of the main reasons why I do the videos, you know, is to help people, you know, because paying dealerships, paying garages is, you know, especially for simple repairs as well, it gets real expensive real quick, and it can price having that particular vehicle out your pocket, you know, and it's nice to try and save a few dollars for people and spread the knowledge as well, so you actually learn something from it. Jim K, how long does it take to do an under seal on an ROV? It takes bloody ages to do it properly. I mean, we do them on the brand new ROVs. So Jim, you'll know what they look like when they come in the crate. We have to remove all the plastics, even the front bonnet section gets lifted up on the two A posts. They're all fitted into place, by the way. And then we hold that up with bungees. We have to mask off or put like a blanket over the dashboard to stop any kind of overspray. We have to mask off all the brake discs, including the part brake disc especially. I take the exhaust off, including the header pipe. I take the fuel tank out. You know, all the seats, plastics, all that kind of stuff comes off. The rear tray comes off and gets sprayed separately. It's I worked it out. It takes about, including some additional wiring that we do for the surf clubs, it takes about 20 hours labour to do one unit, and we've got 15 to do. Yeah, 15. It's a lot. It's a lot to do. But the surf clubs, the surf clubs are very, very happy with the amount of additional work we put in preparing the vehicles for use in their environment. And that's testament as to why we've got this additional order come through now. So it's you know, definitely worth doing, and I'm just really happy to help the surf clubs. And it also greatly increases the resale value of those vehicles when they come off the fleet after 3 years. Before they were not getting very much for the vehicles because they were really, really rusty. Whereas now, I see them, we've got units now out there that are over 2 years old, and there's hardly any rust on them. And they do get a quick touch-up of underseal if there's any of it's got scraped off, maybe on the underneath during the servicing. So, we're really trying to stay on top of that side of things for them. Drive Shaft Drew, hi everyone. Thumbs up, share the live show. Yes, please do. So lots more likes. And if you've got social media, flick out a link to the YouTube channel. That's the biggest way that you can help me, is to spread the word that this channel actually exists, because obviously there's a lot of people out there that have never heard of Andy Mechanic. Menox, Adam here. Adam, right, I remember that. Do you consider it to be okay to put in used cam buckets in the head? So we're using cam buckets from a different head as used parts. It's not really recommended, is it, to be honest? You'd have to go, just inspect each one, but I suppose it depends on the cost of the repair. Is the budget there? It's not ideal. Manufacturers would recommend that you use new ones if you had to replace them. And what was wrong with the old ones? That's the question. Did it run out of oil? Is the bore where the bucket runs, is it scored? Did the old ones seize in there? Were they distorted? Did it overheat? I don't know. You have to just make damn sure that they are free, that they're very free in there and they're not binding at all. I did a video on a little Kawasaki Sherpa 250, and that was the problem. Both exhaust valve buckets had seized in the head and were holding the valves open, and that's why the bike wouldn't run. Fortunately, it didn't bend the valves; they were only partially open. Would I do it if it was my own machine? Probably. But I'll be inspecting the donor parts, for roundness and that kind of thing. Make sure they haven't gone oval and they weren't scored and that kind of stuff. Now then, Adam. Also, my girlfriend left her car to the dealership, Toyota Prius, which needed new cam chain. They told her they were kind and gave her new cam chain oil for free. What a deal! That would have been a cheap job. Big Rock K, or Big Rock. Thanks, Andy, for all you do. Much appreciated. Looking forward to those Yamaha Rhino videos. Looks weird to see you in a jacket. Hot as hell in Winnipeg. It is pretty chilly here at the moment, and this is my official Andy Mechanic jacket. And it's pretty good, actually. I do like it, but I'm definitely pleased I've got it on today. It's chilly as chilly can be down here. The Rhino videos, don't hold your breath. I don't know when they're going to go live on the site. At the moment, for the employer that I work for, and I very much enjoy working for them, very proud to work for that company, it could be many, many years before those videos go live, unfortunately. And hopefully there'll still be some Rhinos around at that time. Jim K, oh my God, so much time. For your information, our ROVs don't come crated. Really? You get rollers? We drive them off the trailer. Oh, wow. So it'd be even more work for you to do if you were to underseal them, because you've got to take all the panels off. At least the ones that arrive with us, some of the panels are not fitted. So interesting. Interesting that there's a variation there. Adam, I'm putting in aftermarket springs that fit the Gen 3. The engine is a 3S GTE Gen 2, which I'm rebuilding into a 5S GTE. Good man, that's a lot of work. That's excellent. Oh, there we are. Look, I've got to the bottom. So, once I've finished my cigarette, which won't be very long away at all, very cold coffee now. So, if you haven't yet already, you can go on to the Zazzle website, and the link is in the description. and you can get yourself an official Andy Mechanic mug, amongst much other merch that are out there. You can't yet buy the jacket on there because Zazzle don't make these jackets. These get made down in Invercargill, believe it or not. Sunny old Invercargill, by a company called Uniform NZ. So if you want one of these, you'll have to go down to the Uniform NZ people. Just Google it, Uniform NZ Invercargill, and go onto their website, and you should see the jackets on there. But with any kind of Andy Mechanic merch, if you send through a selfie, there, look, if you send through a selfie with you or your mug in your workshop, or if you haven't got a workshop, in your car, under your bonnet, whatever you want, something automotive related or next to your motorcycle, send it through to me on an email, and I'll put you in the draw, which is going to be held in December this year, 2020, to win a ton of gear. There's loads of ton, I'm using it metaphorically speaking. It's not actually 1,000 kgs. There's a load of Teng Tool stuff in there, a load of Forge merch, you know, there's sprays and bits and pieces, and of course the Andy Mechanic stuff. I'm going to throw in a jacket and some other stuff as well. And newly available on the Andy Mechanic Zazzle store are toolbox stickers, and these have been going out like hotcakes. And I got a couple of examples. I didn't buy all of them, but this one is, they're actually bumper stickers that I've used. This is Tool Girl Jade, and of course you can snip them down into individual stickers and put them on your toolbox. Pretty damn cool, eh? Look at that. Very good. And Tool Girl Jade is doing just fine. She's busy doing a university course at the moment. And of course, this is one for Tool Girl Holly as well. Doesn't she look fine in those pictures? Great job. Be good to have her on your toolbox, I'm sure. So again, even a sticker, you can get a sticker pack, put it on your toolbox, send me some photos on an email, and I'll put you in the draw to win that stuff in December. Pretty cool. And there's lots of other stuff on there. I think recently I even did a barbecue apron, because, you know, lots of people have barbecues here in New Zealand, and I thought, you know, a Tool Girl a barbecue apron would be a good idea for somebody. I'll definitely get one myself, that's for sure. Now then, where are we? Mike Adams, I've got to cut down some shrubs. Have a good day. All right, Mike. Well, good luck with your shrubs. I did a little bit of gardening yesterday as well, actually, believe it or not. We've got some, I don't know, some real thorny, nasty stuff that seems to be growing around the side of the workshop at the moment, and it was getting around the antenna for the internet, so I had to cut that down. See you next time, Mike. Cheers, mate. Jim Haynes, don't need a jacket this time of year in the States. No, I bet you don't. Bushmaster, I've never thought of Australia or New Zealand as being cold places. It can be, especially the South Island, man, it can get really cold down there. What is your present temperature as we can see your breath in the video? Well, I can only really guess. No, I can't. I can do this properly. Hang on. We did this last time. Hang on. Oh. Right, so you want to know the actual temperature in the workshop as we speak. I'm going to have a guess. It's probably about 6 degrees because there was ice outside and a real harsh frost as well. So let's see what this has to say. Now then. Get my old Teng multimeter fired up. Right, temperature. Where the hell's temperature on it again? There we are. Look, degrees C. All right, without trying to warm it up, it is, oh, I was wrong. It's 3 degrees centigrade. That's how, or 4. 3 or 4 degrees. I'll go with 3. It's about 3 degrees C at the moment. Pretty chilly. Things we do, eh? Now then, so yeah, down in the South Island, it's been down to about -10, I think, down there, -12. Invercargill, Queenstown. Where else does it get really cold? Gore, around Gore area, gets really, really cold. I was driving up from Christchurch to the ferry at Picton early one morning. It was about a 5 o'clock start out of Christchurch, and there was a lot of black ice. So it is pretty cold down there, believe me. Jim K, I like the advert you put in the contactor video. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I got Tool Girl Holly to do me a short piece to camera with the mug. I think she did a fantastic job. We had a lot of fun doing that short snip. There were many outtakes, So I'll have to do a video on the outtakes at some point, but I'll probably get another tool girl to do some similar stuff, and we'll mix it all up. Or I'll get Holly to do some videos on other items as well, because she's such a laugh in the workshop. She really is. She's quite reserved on camera, but off camera she's a good laugh. She really is. Now then, Reynold, my word, no chicas, bonitas, no beautiful women. I'm gonna have to Google that one. Hang on, just bear with me, chaps, because I'm interested in what Reynold has to say there. Just let me copy that. Now then, Spanish to English. Let's just delete that one, and we'll see what he has to say. Now, obviously, Google Translate is a little bit iffy on this stuff. Do not put pretty girls before. I think Porque is before. I forget the Mexicana. Okay, I don't fully get that. If somebody else can translate that into something that's more English, that would be really cool, because I'm sure Reynold has something well to say there about the tool girls. Ken Pickrell, hi Andy, good morning Ken, how are you? Oh my word, Reynolds at it again. I really can't. I can't. If you're gonna post, Reynold, just use proper Spanish, because I don't think it recognizes half the stuff that you're saying, unfortunately. Sorry, people. Now it just says Karen is maybe a distraction. The girls are a distraction on the videos. Well, that's probably why they're there, to be honest. Now then, Jim K, did you get any filming of your trailer setup? I didn't, Jim. I nearly did one morning, and I was short on time. I had 900 kilometers to drive that day, and I had to get the case done, Jim. I'm sorry. I will definitely do one, I promise. Drive shaft Drew, that's funny. It's 33 degrees centigrade here in Winnipeg. Oh man, 30 degrees, 33. I wouldn't be wearing my jacket if it was 33 degrees C, that's for sure. Bob, when do you plan on starting the bike? Looking forward to those videos. Right, well, spoiler alert, I have had the bike running. I have done the first video, and I am going to edit it this afternoon. That's the plan. So I should be finishing the workshop about 3 o'clock, going inside, and it'll take me probably about 3 hours to edit the video, which will take me through to tea time. So hopefully, if all goes to plan, at least that video should be up on the channel in the next 24 hours, I would say. Now then, Bushmaster, thank you for all the efforts on the temperature report. It wasn't an effort at all. It's all good fun, and it's a lot colder than I thought it was, to be fair. Simon, the outtakes sound like a good Christmas vid. Good call, Simon. I do like having you around, mate. You've got some good ideas. Right, so what else have we got to do? I've got a biscuit here. Hang on, breakfast. Ah. The main parts of the video. Let's go for a little wander. Let's unplug that. Take that out. Oh. Right, we're going to go. There we are, look, right. You're on mobile. So, first of all, as per the thumbnail, I'm going to try not to be too jerky. I got given these. Now, these are bottle jacks, which are air operated. And these came from a bus workshop, I believe, from memory. Brandon gave me these. And he's fixed one of them. I don't know which one yet. He says he's fixed one, put a new seal kit in it, and the other one still needs to be fixed. Now, they're probably about 20-ton ones, I would say. They look pretty hefty. I don't really have too much of a use for these at the moment, but maybe, just maybe, they'll come in handy one day. And obviously, I've got to try and get them fixed up, so that might be a video at some point in the future once I get the seal kits for them. Brandon also gave me a bottle jack. Sorry, a trolley jack, my fault. Bottle jack's on the brain now. Gave me a trolley jack. And this is a low rise one, so it's good for those little cars that have had the lowering springs and stuff fitted. But it's got a problem, and I spotted it down here. It was leaking fluid. And if you can see down here, look, that seal just there as split, and it's leaking fluid out of there. So it's going to need that to be fixed. So again, I need to get some parts for it. I need to work out what brand it is. Brandon should be able to give you that information, and then we'll have another trolley jack for the workshop, which will be really, really useful, because Ben doesn't have one at the moment. So I might get it fixed up and give it to Ben. I don't know yet. Now, what else did we get? Well, in here, I got given a little lathe chuck. Look at this. It's got comes even with a little T-spanner thing. Look at this. Pretty cool. Brand new, off for a lathe. It's mounted by 4 bolts at the back, and it's a 4-jaw chuck. Now, I don't think it's going to fit my lathe. It's too small for that. But it might be really useful if I mount it onto maybe a plate, and I can use it on my pillar drill stand for holding bits and pieces, because, you know, being a 4-jaw chuck, you can hold all sorts of weird stuff in there, can't you? So that could be quite cool. Got to find a job for that. We also got, they gave me a 12-volt oil pump for sucking out oil from various places. That's going to be really useful. But I think it's blocked at the moment, so I need to take it apart and clean that out. And in here, in this box, got a brand new motor. Now, I'm not sure, I haven't even looked at it yet. I think it's single phase. I'm hoping it is. If it's 3-phase, it's no use to me at all. But if it's single phase, then I'm sure I can put that to good use. So yeah, lots of stuff. What else do we get? I think that was about it, actually. Oh, got a new grease gun as well, look, over here. And this is all fixed up. Brandon, whoever it was before, broke the bit at the end, so they put a new one on. Yeah, pretty cool. We've got all the forge gear as well, look. Very useful. Oh, it is a nice bike, isn't it? Do like that. Right, back to the bench. Oh, right. Okay, crew. We are very near to the end of the live stream, because what we are now, 1 hour and 27. I like to try and keep them down to about 1.5 hours if I can. We have done some much longer ones, but unfortunately it tends to impede so much of my day's work. I don't get finished till really late, unfortunately. Now then, Jim K, Drew, are you guys still in lockdown? We can't travel to Canada yet. Oh, we had some escapees here in New Zealand. We had 5 people deliberately escaped from one of the quarantine. I think it was in Hamilton the other day. They all got arrested. The youngest was a 12-year-old child, and I think the mother was 37 years old, and they just decided to escape. But fortunately, the police managed to round them up and get them back into captivity. I mean, why would they do that? They've agreed to come to the country, you know, on the premise that they'll follow the requirements of the 14 days isolation, and then they try and escape. I mean, you know, just don't come to New Zealand. It's simple. Sorry, Reynold. Bushmasters, 37.4 degrees Fahrenheit according to Google. Wow. Drive Shaft Drew, Jim K, they say at least till the end of this July. Bob Kinney, try 95 degrees Fahrenheit, freaking hot in Florida. Oh man, right. Peter Steer, why don't you hold little jaw, 4-jaw chuck in a bigger 3-jaw one? I do it all the time. That's a good idea. I like that. Jim Haynes, can't you just read the side of the motor box? Looks like, yeah, it's all in Chinese, unfortunately. Bob Kinney, the racks look real good. Remember the projects. I haven't forgotten. Single phase, cool. Oh, man. All right, guys, I'm going to have to sign off. I'm not feeling very well, unfortunately, so I'll catch you all a bit later on. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next Sunday. Cheers.